With the release of Where Winds Meet, there are many things to consider before you even start playing. First off, despite appearing like yet another open world MMORPG, this game is quite different. In today's video, we'll cover world design, gameplay systems, combat, and monetization, plus what to expect about its potential. Without further ado though, let's get started. At its core, Where Winds Meet is built around freedom. You can travel by foot, horseback, or even glide through the air, and exploration is vertical, fluid, and cinematic, with many climbable cliffs, lakes to explore, ancient ruins to rummage through, and natural puzzles hidden across the landscape. There are more than 20 distinct regions and thousands of points of interest, ranging from villages to battlefields. Combat follows a real-time stance-based system where your moveset depends on the martial arts style that you've equipped. At launch, there will be 12 different styles and 23 techniques, each with its own flow and identity. You'll be able to swap styles mid-combat, linking sword slashes into rope dart pulls, or have spears sweep into counter parries. Each action consumes energy, and perfectly timed dodges or deflections will restore this, and this will allow for cinematic finishes known as mystic arts. Unlike most RPGs though, Where Wind Meets doesn't actually use fixed classes. Instead, your progression depends entirely on what you learn and equip. Martial arts manuals and techniques can be discovered through exploration, earned through quests, or stolen from rivals, and weapons can also be refined, enhanced with talismans, and paired with armor that grants bonuses or modifies animations. There's also an internal chi system which affects stamina recovery and the use of advanced moves, and this means that you could focus on different builds or creativity depending on what you're interested in. The open world is also designed to feel alive and reactive, and alongside it, NPCs follow daily routines, rumors can spread based on your actions, and some quests are just triggered by pure chance. Instead of simply following map markers, you might overhear a conversation in a tavern that leads to a secret duel, or uncover an ancient scroll that reveals a hidden sex location. There's also a range of professions and life skills that add more depth to the world, and things like blacksmithing, medicine, and calligraphy are all available too. Becoming a blacksmith though, for instance, will allow you to craft weapons. Improving your craft with medicine will also allow you to create potions or antidotes, and the world also has a legal/moral system, so if you commit crimes or attack innocents, you'll gain a bounty that can lead to ambushes or imprisonment. These systems also encourage experimentation rather than linear questing, and they give the sense of actually being immersed in the world as opposed to just playing it. Combat in Where Winds Meet is also the wuxia fantasy truly coming alive. Each martial art you learn is a full fighting style with its own combo chains, parry windows, and techniques, and while some focus on pure swordsmanship, others can even focus on grappling. You can also learn abilities like the Lion's Roar or Toad style inspired by classic martial art novels and films, but just as a side note, parrying will be very important as it's not just a defensive mechanic, but also a timing system that builds chi and opens up enemies for counterattacks. Each weapon type also feels pretty different, as spears will offer reach and control, while rope darts have their own advantage through closing gaps. Boss encounters can also range from rival humans or generals to just outright beasts inspired by Chinese mythology. What I found kind of interesting, however, is that there's also a morality influence that's tied to combat, and that means that sparing enemies can earn respect or alternate storylines, while killing them might lead to fear or worse. Visually though, Where Winds Meet looks incredible. The landscapes are well crafted, the physics of the world adds to its atmosphere, and from snowstorms sweeping across mountain ranges to candlelit flickering in temple halls, every frame feels very intentional and, for lack of a better word, cinematic. The developers also brought in fight choreographers to help design the motion capture combat sequences, and this actually gives every encounter a more movie-like feel. The soundtrack is also fantastic with very traditional Chinese instruments, and this makes it for another very immersive experience, but the result inevitably is a world that doesn't just look real, it feels very alive, with every sound and motion reinforcing the wuxia fantasy. Now regarding co-op or multiplayer, players are able to encounter others in the open world, challenging them to duels or teaming up for cooperative missions and large-scale world events, but this isn't technically a full MMO, as it's more like a living online space where you occasionally cross paths with others. But on that note, there are still player factions that function like guilds, which will then let you train together. Monetization wise, Where Winds Meet is also free to play, with its monetization focus on cosmetics and convenience features like mounts and visual effects. This is something that we've seen from other titles like Blue Protocol and Duet Night Abyss, and though we aren't super sure about how well these are performing, I'm a personal fan of these systems, as again, it just means that grinding is kind of the end goal, which of course does feel better than throwing $300 at times against a wall. With this, if you've ever wanted an open world but not technically MMORPG experience with deep inspiration from the East, Where Winds Meet is very promising. It's ambitious, gorgeous, and full of mechanical depth, with a world that rewards curiosity instead of just completion. Its free-to-play model makes it easy to try, as all you have to lose is some time, and if the combat depth and world reactivity delivers on what we've seen so far, this could definitely be one of the coolest releases that we've already seen in a jam-packed 2025. That's everything everything you need to know though about where winds meet. If you found this video helpful, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching though, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night.